Good evening, folks, and welcome to Food for Thought. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Erschen, and this week we are doing something a little bit different. I know in general this is basically a horror-based channel, but I don't always do that. Sometimes I talk about sci-fi, sometimes I talk about action, sometimes I talk about pro wrestling, sometimes I talk about video games, but in general I'm a fan of film, as a lot of us are. And I think it's relevant to discuss what went on between Will Smith, the famous actor, and Chris Rock, the famous comedian, at the Oscars last night, 2022. Now, in case you've been living under a rock, you know that Will Smith slapped the bejesus out of Chris Rock at the Oscars last night. So what happened was, Chris Rock was presenting an award, and then he started to go into kind of a monologue, telling some jokes. And he was talking about Javier Bardem and Penelope Cruz and how, they're married in real life and they're both up for Oscars. And I think in general, the joke Chris Rock was trying to make, that you don't have to worry about that with, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett, because, Jada Pinkett hasn't exactly had a stellar acting career. Although she was in Scream 2, so that's relevant to horror right there. But, she hasn't gotten the accolades like Will Smith's had. Will Smith's been nominated a couple times for an Oscar. He's had a stellar acting career. On top of a rap career, in music. So, I think that's kind of what Chris Rock was getting at, although it came out not really appropriate. I thought he took a couple shots at her, not just her acting career, but he said, I can't wait to see G.I. Jane 2 because of the fact that she's bald and she's wearing like green, camouflage. So yeah, he took a couple shots at her, and I didn't think it was in good taste, personally, but I don't think it's right what Will Smith did, jumping on stage, slapping the taste out of his mouth, And then when he gets back to his seat, he's like, keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth. Like, you could hear the rage in his voice, Like, that was real. You can't fake that. I'm sorry. I think up until then, maybe people might have thought it was a joke or a publicity stunt. And I'm sure Chris Rock did when he saw Will Smith go on stage. He probably thought, Will Smith was going to do something funny, Otherwise, they probably would have had, security come out, Or maybe it's just because he's Will Smith, They didn't want to do anything, And that's another thing you have to ask. How did he get away with doing that, How did they let him go on stage and slap and basically assault Chris Rock, on stage? And that's another thing you have to look at, So there's a lot of different ways you can look at it, I think without a doubt it was a tasteless joke, that was unnecessary and uncalled for. At least that's my opinion. And you guys have your opinion, of course, and I want to hear your comments, and your opinions in the comments, What are your thoughts on that, Because I think it's a very interesting topic, because I think there's a danger there if you let people get away with these kind of things, What kind of people are we, Are we animals, Because you can go back to the situation, what happened with Dimebag Darrell. He was murdered on stage, Obviously, this is a much different situation, but, it's, in a way, it's similar. The guy jumped on stage and attacked the band, It's like Will Smith jumped on stage and pretty much attacked, Chris Rock, blindsided him, In a way, I can see Will Smith's reasoning behind it. I think he has a reason to be upset at that. I feel like it was kind of a cruel joke and very insulting and disrespectful to Jada, because she does have a condition where, her hair can't grow right, And I guess it's been well documented. If Chris Rock didn't know that, it's like, come on, do your research before you do a joke like that, So I feel like he was in the wrong in that sense, but I don't think Will Smith was right either doing that. You know, he could have handled that better. I mean, come on. He could have waited till after the show, you know, and say, you know, what was up with that joke? Why are you telling jokes about my wife like that, disrespecting her, you know? He could have waited till after the show, but maybe in the sense he felt like, you know, I'm not going to let him get away with this, because after the show, maybe he could weasel his way out of there, you know, and not pay the price for what he said, you know. You could look at it that way, but at any rate, you know, you can't have people just jumping in a public place and attacking someone while they're on stage, you know, trying to do their job, you know. It's crazy, you know. It's like, if I did that, if I jumped on stage and I was in the audience and I went and slapped Chris Rock, what do you think would happen to me? You know, the cops are gonna bum rush me and throw me the hell out of there, probably arrest me and throw me in jail for the night, you know, for assault, you know, and I'll probably go to court, you know. Will Smith does it and he gets nothing. I don't think anything's gonna happen. You know, maybe it will later on, but they didn't do anything about it at the show. They gave him an Oscar. You know? I know it's prearranged that he was supposed to win, but, you know, they could have went back and said, you know, we're not going to give it to him because of what just happened. You know, he could have been disqualified because of that and escorted from the building, you know. He could have been kicked out. It's like, you know, how do you guys think that they should have handled it? You know, they think, are you upset that that was even able to happen? How was he able to do that and get away with that, you know? I feel like they should have had security, you know, go up to him like, what are you doing? What are you going on stage for, you know? You know? They should have security right there waiting to grab somebody, you know. Just like they have at a rock concert, if the people stage diving, there's security there to throw them back in the crowd, you know. They make sure that people don't attack the band members usually, you know. Obviously that wasn't the case with Dimebag Darrell, but in any sense, you know, it's an interesting discussion, you know. And again, you know, in life, it's, in my opinion, two wrongs don't make a right, you know. You know, they were both wrong in this situation, I feel, you know. You know, Will Smith just lost his cool. He lost it, you know. And it happens, you know. People, we lose our temper and we do crazy things sometimes. And I feel like Will Smith needs to, you know, address that, you know. He should say, like, you know, I lost my cool, I'm sorry. But he can also say, but I feel Chris Rock was wrong with what he said, you know. He could come out and say that I felt like he disrespected my wife, you know. It just was not the right way to handle it, you know. I know some people might be like, oh yeah, he got him, you know. You know, what a jerk Chris Rock is for saying that, you know. He deserved it. Maybe in some respects he did deserve to be slapped, but not in front of the entire world, you know, when he's trying to do his job on TV. It's just crazy, you know. It's just crazy. I can't believe that happened, you know. And it's, you know, we hold these people up. I know I do sometimes. I hold these celebrities and these great actors. I think highly of them a lot of times. And sometimes we're disappointed when our heroes do crazy things like this, you know. Reality is not always what we see in the movies, you know. You may see an actor in interviews, just, you know, they seem like a cool person, a nice person, a humble person, but things could be completely different in their lives, you know. We don't know what their actual lives are like and how they are and who they are, really. We don't know these people personally. We just know that they're great actors, and, you know, I like to go to the movies and watch these people act. They're a great actor, you know. It's just crazy when something like this happens, and you're like, it just kind of puts a nasty taste in your mouth. It's like, why am I looking up to these people, you know? Should I really be? But at the same time, they're human beings like everyone else. They have feelings, and, you know, if Chris Rock said that to me and about my wife, yeah, I probably would go up and slap him. But, but that's in a pub, out in public, or not in a ceremony that's being held like this in front of the world and on TV in front of the world, Be professional, It's like, what's wrong with you, You're gonna... That is so unprofessional to me, but at the same time, Chris Rock was a jerk. I do like Chris Rock. I think he's a funny comedian, but he's always been edgy, He's always pushing the envelope. And there are times where comedians can cross the line, And they do. Like, I was the biggest fan of Howard Stern back in the day. I used to watch him way back when I was a little kid, and he used to make me laugh. And, and Howard Stern was certainly very edgy on the radio. And there were times when he crossed the line. And there was one time where he crossed the line for me personally, where I didn't find it funny, and I found what he did offensive. When I was watching he had the E! Television show for a while, and there was a scene where he had one of the stripper girls on there, and the guys were like throwing cold cuts at her butt, with mayonnaise on it, and slapping the meat on her butt, and like, wow, this is so degrading to women. I'm like, wow. And that's when I stopped watching. I stopped listening to Howard Stern. I stopped watching the E! Show. I was done with it. And I feel like Chris Rock crossed the line there. He did. And it happens because sometimes maybe they don't always do their research, and I know they're trying to push the envelope, but sometimes you can go too far, and he did go too far, in my opinion. But then, that's not to say that Will Smith was right in the way he reacted, I feel like he lost his temper, and he went too far, He went too far with it. Come on. But yeah, that's just how I feel. That's my opinion, and I want to know what you guys think. What are your opinions on this matter? I feel like it's just interesting food for thought. And that's the show that I do now and then, Bring up a topic of discussion that I find interesting, and that we could have interesting conversation, So let me know what you guys think on this matter in the comments below. And have a great day, and have a great week, and thank you for joining me, Sean Patrick Erschen, in Food for Thought.